Okay. Return. Well, I think by now you should probably start capturing. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Retech Corporation. Under a bit of a push, I was asked to play a dating sim. A different one, but I didn't have any interest in it. So, I started up. So I went looking and I found this one, and this one actually piqued my interest. So I'm gonna play it, even though it's slightly outside my normal games parameter. Give me one more second. I need to send one more message to someone. Up here. Oh, I can just grab my own real quick. Do that. Give me a minute. Okay. I think I can hit start. It sucks that I now have to deal with that noise. Full reason why I turned off the heat now. Oh, hey Mrs. E. I stated before, I'm not doing reading. It's kind of what I'm doing. This starting bit, the guy was given a note by a girl and went out into the woods, following the instructions, and then he had a heart attack. Because the it was by the girl, and I just missed that. Okay, that's the credits. So it's one of the high school boy going after girls sort of thing. So it's not exactly your normal shtick, Mrs. Z. Okay, that's a fair point. So it's been 4 months since the person's heart attack. In that whole time, I can probably count the number of times I left the hospital room on an unsupervised on one hand. 4 months is a pretty long time when you're left alone with your thoughts. So I've had plenty of time to come to terms with my situation. Arrhythmia. Strange word, foreign, an alien one that you don't want to be in the same room with. Rare condition causes the heart to act erratically and occasionally beat way too fast. It can be fatal. Apparently I've had it for a long time. They say it was a miracle that I was able to go on so long without anything happening. Is that really a miracle? I guess it was supposed to make me feel better, more appreciative of my life. I really didn't do anything to cheer me up. My parents, I think, were hit harder with the news than I was. They practically had 2 hemorrhages apiece. I'd already had a full day by then to digest everything. To them, it was all fresh, and they were even willing to sell our house in order to pay for a cure. That's not gonna work. Of course, there isn't a cure. Obviously. Because of the late discovery of this condition, I had to stay at the hospital to recuperate from the treatments. When I was first admitted, it felt as if I was missed. For about a week in my room, the ward was full of flowers, balloons, and cards. But the visitors soon dwindled, and all the get-well gifts began to tinkering down to short to nothing after. I realized that the only reason I had gotten so many cards and flowers was because sending me their sympathy had been turned into a class project. Maybe some people are generally concerned, but I doubted it. Even in the beginning, I barely had any visitors, but at the end of the first month, only my parents came by on a regular basis. The girl from the beginning, whose name I couldn't pronounce if I tried, was the last one to stop visiting. After 6 weeks, I never saw her again. We never had that much to talk about when she visited anyways. We didn't touch the subject that was between us on that snowy day ever again. The hospital. Not really a place I'd like to live in. The doctors and nurses feel impersonal and faceless. I guess it's because they're in a hurry and they have millions of other patients waiting for them, but it makes me feel uncomfortable. For the first month or so, I asked the head cardiologist every time I saw him for a rough estimate of when I'd be able to leave. Whenever he answered, he never answered anything straightforward. No way, but told me to wait and see if the treatments and surgeries worked. So I idly observed the scar that those surgeries had left on my chest slowly change its appearance over time, thinking of it some kind of omen. I still asked the head cardiologist about leaving, but my expectations were low enough now that I'm not disappointed anymore when I don't get a reply. The way he shuffles around the answer shows that there is at least some hope. At some point, I stopped watching TV. I don't know why. I just did. Maybe it was the wrong kind of escapism for my situation. I started reading instead. There's a small library in the hospital. Although it was more like a storeroom for books, I began working my way through it, one small stack at a time. After consuming them, I'd go back for more. I found that I liked reading. I think that even because it's a bit addictive. Even when I became a bit addicted, I started feeling naked without books in my hands. I love those stories. That was what my life was like. Days became increasingly harder to distinguish from each other, differing only by the book I was reading and the weather outside. Felt like time blurred into some kind of gooey mass. I was trapped inside instead of moving within. A week could go by without me really noticing. Sometimes I'd pause in realization that I didn't know what day of the week it was. Other times, all the things that surrounded me would painfully crash into my consciousness, although through the barrier of nonchalance that I'd built up for myself. The pages of my book would start feeling sharp and burning hot, and the heaviness in my chest would become so hard to bear that I had to put the book aside and just lay down for a while, looking at the ceiling as if I was going to cry. But that happened only rarely. Words. And I couldn't even cry. Today the doctor comes in and gives me a smile. He seems excited, but not very. It's like he's trying to make an effort to be happy on my behalf. My parents are here. It's been a few days since I've last seen them. Both of them are even sort of dressed up. Is this supposed to be some kind of special occasion? It's not a party. There's this ritual in my head, There was this ritual the head cardiologist has. He takes his time sorting through his papers, then setting them aside to make it a point of the pointless of what he had just did. Then he usually sits down at the edge of the bed next to me. No, sits down on the edge of the bed next to mine and looks me in the eyes for a moment. Hello, Yaso. How are you doing today? Yaso? Hasso? Hello, Mr. Protagonist. How are you doing today? I don't answer him. I just smile and look back at him. Smile a little, back at him. I believe that you can go home. Your heart is strong enough now, but with some precautions, you should be fine. We have all your medications sorted out. I'll give your father the prescription. The doctor hands a sheet of paper to my dad, whose expression turns wooden as he reads it quickly. So many. I take it from his hand and take a look myself, feeling numb. How am I supposed to react to this? An absurdly long list of medications staring back at me from the paper seems to be insurmountable. They all blend together in a sea of letters. Okay, there's a fair amount in there that I don't recognize. This is insane. The side effects, adverse effects, contradictions in dosage. Contradictions in dosage are listed here line after line with cold precision. I try to read them, but it's futile. It's so futile. I can't understand any of it. Tempting only makes me feel sicker. All this for the rest of my life, every day. I'm afraid that's the best we can do at this point. However, new medications are always being developed, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the list fade over the years. Ears. What a confidence booster is. What kind of confidence booster is that? I have felt better if he had just said anything at all. I've also spoken with your parents, and we believe it would be best if you don't return to your old school. Yeah, well, it's not a dick move. What? Please, calm down. Listen to what the doctor has to say. Calm down? He says and tells me he full well knew that I wouldn't like it. Am I gonna be homeschooled? Whatever my concern shows, it's ignored. You'll understand that your education is paramount. However, I don't think it's wise for you to be without supervision. At least not until we're sure your medication is suitable. So I've spoken with your parents about a transfer to a school called Yamaku Academy. It specializes with dealing with disabled students. Disabled? What am I? It has a 24-hour nursing staff, and it's only a few minutes from a highly regarded general hospital. The majority of the students live on campus. Think of it as a boarding school of sorts. It's designed to give students a degree of independence while keeping help nearby. Independence? It's a school for disabled kids. Don't try and disguise that fact. If it were really that free, there wouldn't be 24-hour nursing staff, and you wouldn't make a hospital being nearby a selling point. Of course, that's only if you want to go. But your mother and I aren't really able to homeschool you. He went out there a couple of weeks back, and I think you'd like it. Looks like I really don't have a choice. Compared to other heart problems, people with your condition usually tend to live long lives. You'll need a job one day, and this is a good opportunity to continue your education. This is an opportunity. Don't call it an opportunity. Don't call it a goddamn opportunity. Well, you should be excited at the chance to go back to school. I remember you wanted to return to school, and, well, it's not the same one. Duh. Major problem for any kid, especially one that's... Anyways. A special school, that is. An insult. What? That's what I want to say. It's a step down. It's not that... It's not what you think. All of the students are pretty active in their own sort of way. It's geared towards students that can still get around and learn, just need a little help in one way or another. Your father's right. Many of the graduates of this school have gone on to be doing amazing things. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. One of my colleagues in another hospital is a graduate. I didn't care. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. That's what a disability... That's what a disability is. I really hate that something so important was decided for me, but what can I do about it? A normal life is out of the question now. It's funny. I had always thought my life was actually kind of boring, but now I miss it. I want to protest. I want to blame this on the lack... I want to blame this lack of reaction on shock and fatigue. I could easily yell something out now. Something about how I can go back to school anyways, but no. I don't say a thing. The fact is, I know now it's futile. I look around the room feeling tired of this. The hospital, the doctors, my condition, everything. I don't see anything that would make me feel any different. There really isn't a choice. I know this, but the thought of going to a disabled school... What do those kids even like? Much as I try and put a positive spin on it, it's very difficult. But, let me try. Clean slate isn't a bad thing. That's all I can think. Get me through this. At least I still have something, even if it is a special school. It's something. It's a fresh start. My life isn't over. It would be a mistake just to resign myself to thinking that. At least I try and see what my new life will look like. Act 1, life expectancy. The gate looked far too pompous for what it was. In fact, the gates in general seemed to do that, but this one especially so. Red bricks, black wrought iron, gray plaster assembled into a whole that didn't feel welcoming at all. Wondered if it looked like what a gate for a school should look like, but I couldn't really decide. Probably no. Of course, I didn't want to get stuck into thinking about the gate for too long, so I entered through it with a brisk pace. That felt surprisingly good. Moving forward feels good. So I walked towards the main building of the academy with a brisk pace. I'm alone as my parents are taking stuff to the dorms, and there's supposed to be someone waiting for me. The grounds are incredibly lush and filled with green. It doesn't feel like the kind of grounds a school would have, more like a park with a clean walkway, going past trees and the smell of fresh cut grass, all the other park-like things. The words like clean and hygienic pop into mind. Makes me shudder. I shake them off. Stay open-minded now. It's your new life. You have to take it as it comes. That's what I tell myself. A few big buildings loom behind leafy canopies. Too big. Too many of them just for a school. Everything seems off. Different from what I thought. Different from what I thought I knew about schools. It's uncanny valley, even though I was told this is my new school. The back of my head, it doesn't feel like one. I wonder if this feeling is real or caused by my expectations of the school for the disabled. Speaking of that, I don't see anyone else here. It's kind of eerie. Makes me wish there was someone here so I could anchor myself to something tangible instead of having this feeling that I stepped into another dimension. The trees hum with the wind and the green hues flash all around and catch my attention. Makes me think about hospitals again, and how they say the operating rooms are painted green because green is a calming color. So why am I feeling so anxious despite all this greenery? Only after standing in front of the haughty main building, I surprised myself by realizing why the gate bothered me. It was the last chance I had to turn back. Even if I had no life to return to. But still, after entering, there was absolutely no way I could go back home anymore. Go back anymore, not home. Brain filling in words. Feeling nervous with this realization set in my head, I opened the front door. A tall man with bad posture notices me as I enter. We're the only people in the lobby, so it's only logical. You must be main protagonist's last name inserted here. So you are. Excellent. I'm your homeroom and science teacher. My name is Mr. Muton. M-U-T-O-U. Muto? Mr. Muto. There we go. I'll go with that one. Welcome. We exchange a handshake, and neither firm nor sloppy looks at his watch. The head nurse asked you for a brief checkup and check-in visit. There's no time for that now. Oh, should I go later? Yes, afternoon is probably fine. We should get you going and introduce you to the rest of the class. They're waiting already. Waiting for me? I didn't like really being the center of attention, but it gets inevitable in a situation like this. Somehow, not knowing what was waiting for me makes me feel really nervous. Thinking of this, I almost missed what the teacher is saying. Do you want to introduce yourself to the class? Okay, why? Why do I have to? Of course not. That's why I asked. Right. Let's go then. My heart is pounding in my chest, and it keeps me thinking about my condition as I follow the teacher up the stairs. The third door down on the third floor corridor makes the classroom for the class 3-3. Muto opens up the door and enters. Good morning, everyone. Sorry for being late again. I hesitate for a split second at the door, freezing on the spot. Get a grip. This is a big step, I know, but there isn't really a point in worrying about it much. At least not this soon. I follow the teacher into the classroom and look around, partially so I wouldn't have to meet curious gazes of my classmates. It's pretty spacious, the ceiling is unusually high, and there's lots of space left around in between the desks. An entire wall is taken up by blackboards, and the high school old-fashioned windows make them seem larger. The students' desks are just standardized wooden desks with a shelf underneath it for books, and wooden chairs with metal frames, simple but efficient. I stopped walking in front of the classroom to face the other students. They all look normal, like students of any other school. But then why would they be here? They're probably like me and have something wrong with them. And then I noticed that one of the girls seems to be missing the thumb on her right hand. It's a bit jarring. Despite the natural tendency to listen to someone talking about you, I tune out the teacher's speech halfway through while he introduces me to the class. Oh look, I get the anime protagonist seat and get set next to a window. I notice a flash of dark hair and see someone looking at me. A girl with really long straight hair that's pretty eye-catching. She seems to be looking back at her and covers up her face with her hand, as if it will make her invisible. There's one boy with a cane leaning against the lockers. Alright, it's weird. It's weird seeing someone so young with a cane. Another girl seems to be making some weird hand motions, sign language. She peers at me over the rims of her glasses, then goes back to whatever she's doing. She's kind of cute, so the cheery-looking girl with pink hair so is this cheery-looking girl sitting next to her. She's really hard to miss. I don't know why I didn't notice her the moment I walked in. Please welcome our newest classmate. He claps his hands, and so does everyone else, except for the one girl in the first row who has only one hand. I cringe a little, but I hide it by bowing and thanking the pause. I did not deserve. After the pause, there's a brief silence. No one seems to want to be responsible for breaking. The teacher soon realizes that he should probably say something. He opens up with an unintelligible noise, shuts us as he loses his momentum, and then starts introducing me. Nobody seems to be interested. Maybe I should have said yes to the self-introduction thing. Probably realized he doesn't know anything about me. He just ends up saying my name wrong again and asks me to write it out on the blackboard. I do and turn back to face the class, feeling awkward. I listen to the teacher as he drones, but he drones about getting along and letting my He drones along about getting along while I let my gaze sweep across the classroom. Everyone seems to be listening to him intently. When he's done, they clap and they clap their hands again, which feels like a weird thing to do. The girl in the first row claps with her one hand against the other wrist that ends in a bandaged stump, which makes me feel bad. We're going to be doing group work today so that you get given a chance to talk with everyone. Is that okay with you? Yeah, fine with me. That's good. You can work with Hakamichi? She can explain everything you might want to know. And who else would be able to do that better, right? How would I know? Teacher passes out the assignments and announces what will be working in groups of 3. It hits me that I don't know who this person is. Great. Give me. Yeah, my desktop alarm just went off in the middle of this. Isn't that fun? The teacher seems caught my helpless expression. All right. You know, once I know their disabilities, this will be much easier because then I can recognize the name to the disability. But at this point, I'm kind of lost. So, Hakamichi is right here. Okay, so it's the pink girl with pink hair. As he calls out her name, the cute, bubbly-looking girl with bright pink hair and golden eyes waves her hands at me. I take a seat next to her by the window. You know, I really hate it's got so many names in it. God damn it. I'm gonna skip over the name. I guess your insert name of character writes, it's nice to meet you. Okay. Breaking into laughter in the first few seconds. What? I'm kind of a little off guard by our laughter. Yeah, that's the correct reaction to that. It's nice to meet you too, but... Okay. She's not insert character's name here, Amisha. I forgot, it's Japanese, which means surname first, but they greet you by your surname, which makes it confusing when authority figures talk about people. Okay. So it's C-chan. Giggling, Misha puts out the girl next to her, one I saw using sign language before. It looks like she has been staring at me this whole time. She nods once, nonchalantly, and slowly acknowledges my presence, but only barely. She has short yet carefully kneaded brushed hair, a pair of oval-shaped glasses balanced off the tip of her dainty nose, dark blue eyes that seem to alternate every few seconds between analytical and slightly bored. It's nice to meet you. Shizune. She immediately looks at Misha, who looks and smiles and makes a few quick gestures with her hands. Okay, so to explain this specific... Oh, someone else joined. I didn't even notice. They probably left by this point. Oh. 32. It's been a minute. Oh, hi. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that as a surprise for the other person that's in here, my moderator, because they have never seen this game before, most likely. So, I know I'm choosing, but I'm gonna hold off on that a little bit. Goddamn, I suck at Japanese names, and I really wish they would stick to using the shorthand names, which are much easier to learn. Akamichi nods and gives a few gestures of her own. To explain this situation, I have not played this before. I know of it, though. and I just noticed I maxed my mic there for a sec. Yes, this is a new one. I know of the game, and I know of the characters because they're referenced in all sorts of anime stuff, anime pages, because it is a Asian dating sim thing. But I know this situation. One of the two people I'm talking to right now is deaf, and the other person is essentially a translator. I don't remember what the pink hair girl has a problem. I started to wonder if the teacher was messing with me, saying like you'll be able to talk to people, and who better to explain things. I can see you're a bit confused, right? But I understand why you would be. Why you would think I was Su-chan. Su-chan is deaf, so I'm the person who translates things back and forth for her. I'm like an interpreter, she says with a nice to meet. She says, and it's nice to meet you. You're the new student, aren't you? Well, Su-chan, of course. Well, Su-chan, of course he is. If he wasn't, he would have been standing in front for no reason, right? Misha looks at me with a weird expression and then continues. We don't know much about him, but maybe we'll find out later. Maybe I should have introduced myself after all. No, I'm antisocial. Shh. Let me express myself. Anything would have given a better first impression than the teacher's droning and fumbling with my name. We knew there was going to be a new student, but we didn't know that you would be here so soon. Be here today so soon. Yu-chan, right? Yu-chan? Yep, it fits, doesn't it? Did I say it out loud? It's just a surprise. I never liked that nickname. I don't really see how. It fits, you look just like I imagined. That's not a odd thing to do in an early conversation. Yeah, I know exactly what you're gonna look like. Yeah, you look just like a he-chan. She's the only one. I can't say my character's name to save my life, so I'm in the same boat as the teacher. I wonder why everyone seems to think so. Oh, god damn it, what? I'm gonna have to learn full names in this, and that's gonna bother me. And she taps her fingers on the desk, and to get Mishka's attention, they gesture back and forth to each other excitedly, their hands in a blur. Mishka seems a little overwhelmed. Sorry about that. C-chan wants you to know that she is the class rep, so if there's anything you need to know, you can feel free to ask her. Well, technically no, I cannot ask her. I'd have to ask you. Unless I go and learn sign language over the next, however long I'm going to be here. Do you like the school so far? We can show you around a little bit if you haven't had time to walk around yourself and familiarize yourself with it. Misha stumbles with the hard word a bit, making it stick out in her otherwise fluid translation. Thanks, that'd be pretty helpful. I kinda just came straight to class today. That's no good. You should always try and learn as much as you can about where you're going before you go there. Not just with school either. Anyways, even if it's a trip to the convenience store, really, Su-chan, learn about where you're going. I guess I didn't bother to do that. I just didn't care enough to do so. That is a fair point. I'm betting she knows how to read. So, yes, I could slip notes. To be completely honest, I would be caught a little off guard by the way that Mishita talks. I didn't look forward to this, but even if I had committed myself to going along with it, half-assedly, but anyways. I didn't say anything, and Mishita signed something that ends in a shrug. What was that? It seems like it was about me. I feel like slumping over in my seat. Both of them are smiling, but that shrug hit me unexpectedly deep. You look down. Are you okay? Don't take the wrong way, please. I hate it when people are afraid to ask questions. That's how people learn things, by asking. Misha, okay. I am not well practiced in Japanese pronunciation. Asking for help is perfectly normal, as much as needing help, so stop looking like you just failed the test. I'm half thinking that the writer for her was trying to write an even villain character and just kinda, you know, missed the notes. What'd I do wrong? Alright. And another thing, you don't have to call Su-chan something formal like her actual name or class rep all the time. Just call her Su-chan. Okay, things went silent. Okay, maybe that's too casual. Maybe Sejun would be more appropriate. Silence continues. Yes, Suzun. Is it wrong? I'm looking over the chat to see if I get better pronunciation. I feel a lot more at ease with both of them. I'm at ease. Both of them seem so friendly. I feel like an idiot for being apprehensive earlier, especially about Shuzun, who I assume would be all business. Okay. Okay, Shinzun. Or call her Sin. Like Shu with an I at the end of it. Shuzun. Okay. Well, it seems like that. Let's just so I guess that's. She just seems like that. Just less so, I guess. Okay, there. I managed to get through that sentence. Alright, I haven't touched on the assignment. We should start work now. Or Sui-chan will get mad. Shu-chan. There, that's... The assignment is also kind of long. We should start it now if we want to finish it before class ends. That too. Shuzun stares at the two of us impatiently. I don't need to know sign language to understand that. Okay, I get the message. After class, we can take a walk around the grounds together. It's a very nice day today. The assignment is actually very challenging to get through, combined aspects of both being difficult and unnecessarily long. Oh, that's all homework. Still, we finished with a few minutes early, and everyone else in class, managed to finish earlier than everyone else in class, despite our late start. Shuzun and... Scroll back up a little bit. I'm going to have a separate document just with shorthand of all of the pronunciations. Misha. Are really capable. They're quite different though. The class rep is calm and professional as she looks, and Misha is a lot more playful and girlish. Not to mention, more easily distracted. To be honest, the two of them did most of the work. I feel guilty about that. Okay, slightly confused by the fact that they decided to actually have a bell tower. That's by even as far as I know how old this game is, that would be very, very impractical. Anyways, time for lunch. I will look into that in a bit. Without knowing what else to do, I'll phone Mishta, who's beckoning me into the hallway and down the stairs. Okay, let's see your silence. We descend down below and into the lobby where I'm met by Muto down at the bottom floor. Just like everything in the school, the cafeteria seems too spacious and oddly modern, in contrast to the classy exterior. It's big open windows to the courtyard towards the main gate. It's big windows open to the courtyard towards the main gate. There we go. It's the cafeteria. Her enthusiastic statement of the obvious makes people around us stare, but Misha doesn't seem to care, and we proceed to the line. There's a rather long list under the menu options, which seem to be great until I realize many of them are to accommodate students with special diets. How nice. It almost feels like I'm back at the hospital. Eating portions measured with scientific precision to meet the needs of the patients. I pick something at random and follow Shuzun and to the table opposite her. Sitting on the table opposite her. Words. As I nibble indifferently at the food I'd rather not eat, Misha pokes me with the side to get my attention and points at Shoujo. I don't understand sign language, so the point escapes me. Maybe looking at the person who talks to you is proper and polite? Do you want to know something? What? about anything. We're your guides, so you should ask if there's any. You should ask if there is something. I wonder. I think I got everything I need to know. Library or deafness. I can ask about the library. Oh yeah, there's a library in the school lately. I've gotten into reading, so I'd like to check it out. Misha gives a kind of frown that makes it clear she doesn't consider reading a healthy hobby, but then picks up her smile again. Oh, judgmental much? Well, yes, you know, those would lead. I'm noticing why a bunch of the emoticons aren't showing up. It's because Better Discord doesn't work on Restream Chat. Not Better Discord, Better Twitch TV. Okay. There it is. It's on the second floor. We can show you that. You can show it sometime. I enjoy reading. My character and myself. Sure, I stick to audiobooks because they're a lot more space efficient and it lets me do something else at the same time. But still. There it is. It's on the second floor. We can show you sometime. Okay, right. Space, not forward. Thanks. I return to my food while the girls talk between themselves. Additionally, I've only known the girl for like half a day. I'm jumping to, hey, why are you deaf? Isn't probably the best thing. I saw some of them. And I understand what they're supposed to be, but I'm technically streaming to both YouTube and to Mixer at the same time as Twitch, so I'm kind of bogged down. Mrs. E gets to see them. So I return my food while the girls talk between themselves. Misha and Shoujo sign back and forth, very adamantly following sideways glances at me, but Misha refrains from translating. Maybe they're talking about secret girl stuff or something. I jump to that conclusion whenever I hear girls talking. Silence. I quickly notice the conversation in sign is not enough to fill a silence. We arrive in the classroom early, but we're not the first. A dark-haired girl that I noticed from before is slumped over her desk at the last row. She jumps a little bit when Misha crashes into the room with the elegance of a rhino. That is a fantastic sentence. She shrinks deep into her seat. I can feel her tension all the way from here, as if she were slowly turning into stone, just from our presence. Misha and Suzu don't notice and don't mind it as I walk directly past her to their seats and begin to converse. I'm left wondering about her even when the classroom slowly fills with other students, and finally the teacher. Getting the rhythm of school feels strange, what the? As if my brain remembers how it's done, but my body doesn't. Towards the end of class, I start yawning and counting the minutes left. I shouldn't be this tired on my first day of school. Maybe it's a long time I spent in the hospital that made me like this, even feeling physically weak and lifeless. Before long, the final bell rings. School is finally over for the day. Beside me, Misha and Susan are having a short conversation. After a bit of deliberation, Misha turns to me. It says the person turns to me, and obviously I know they're talking for someone else, but why? Why do you have to start with a silence piece from her? Is it meant to be a social piece to suggest that she's the one talking? Unfortunately, we can't stay to show you around today, Hee-chan. We've got to hurry already since there's a lot of work for us to do. You'll find your way around here, I'm sure of it. Wait, the teacher said I have to see the nurse. Where do I have to go? Is that so? We can at least show you that much. Well, yes, technically she's showing something, but she doesn't actually do the hand sign, so even with the limited sign I know, I couldn't translate. Even, like, bits and pieces of it. Come on, the nurses have their own building, so we have to go outside. And anyways, to give an understanding to Mrs. E, who's not seeing this, essentially this beginning section, as far as I know in dating sims, is the point is to introduce you to the characters, even if you don't get fully introduced to the characters. Oh, that's... We join the flow of students making their way down the stairwell and outside, with the girls pointing out other senior classrooms in the same hallways as ours. When we get outside, the girls make their way to the small building right next to the school. It's built in the same style, so it looks like actually part of the main building. This is the auxiliary building. There's a lot of official important stuff inside, like the school's foundation office and all the nurses' offices. We even have a swimming pool. How is that official? Don't be silly, Hee-chan. It's for physical therapy, of course. Well, that's just say it's an official building or an office building, and then you say there's a swimming pool. That doesn't exactly sound official. Personally, I'm picturing a desk with floaties and a guy sitting at it in a business suit and swimming trunks. Now that image is stuck in my head, a picture. Anyways, all the nursing staff facilities are in there too. The head nurse office is in the first floor. You'll be fine from here, right? We're going to go then. See you tomorrow. Okay, you have the school name's pronunciation on hand? And I can work on it? I'm just gonna have a little text document that occupies some of the screen here because of how I had to capture... I really need to adjust my mic. I'm noticing, yeah, it's turning red that I'm talking too loud. I'll just have this little text document with shorthands for the names typed out and then the way they're pronounced. Yeah, thanks. Bye. A whole building for stuff that has nothing to do with actual education. I guess it's necessary in a place like this. I walk in hoping that it really will be a quick visit, like the teacher said. On a white door on the left is a green cross with the text next to it, head nurse, on the nameplate. That's right, it is within Asian culture to use the green cross instead of for red that we use in medical over here. A voice from the inside responds to my knock almost immediately, but I can't quite make it out. It sounded a bit like an invitation to open the door, so I invite myself further in. The room is not large and it smells strange. Well, hospitals do. A friendly-looking man turns around in his office chair and faces me. It's just neat and tidy, and there's a bin under the table, overflowing with medical utensils, at least half a dozen coffee cups, coffee rings lingering on the desk. Smiling Man. That is a terrifying title. Hello there, how can I help you today? Okay. I will go through the effort of describing this person for the sake of it. He's young looking and sort of rugged, but the dimples on his cheek wash that impression away when he smiles. Are you the nurse? He smiles like a person who's heard that question hundreds of times. Well, yes, I am. It says so on the door. No? Well, no. It just had a green cross. You know, I'm jumping to conclusions here. You can just call me the nurse. Sweet! A lazy name. Of course, I shake off my confusion when I probably should grab his extended hand. His handshake is rather firm and friendly. Well, you know, at least there's fan service in both directions. It's not like the average dating sim, which only has it in one direction. Not my preference, but you go right ahead. Right, I'm a new student, and my homeroom teacher told me I should come and meet you. My name is Hashio Naki. His eyes light up in revelation, and he snaps his fingers. Oh, you're that. Really? I really dislike the fact that that's the way authority greets you. It's almost as weird as calling a child by the title Mr. to me. Yes, I see your disappointed face there. Anyways, I was just reading your file in the morning. Some kind of chronic arrhythmia that's related to a unrelated congenital heart attack and heart muscle deficiency. Okay, there we go. I understand that. but saying it's another statement entirely. Okay. He gestures for me to sit down in the vacant armchair, or in front of his desk. Yeah. Good. Well, you've probably been briefed about school enough, so I'll just go over this quickly. We have all kinds of facilities available, mostly physical therapy and such. There is always some staff around, even at night, so never hesitate to call us if there's a problem. Hisa Onaki. Mr. Protagonist Person. That is his name from now on. I will not step from that. He is Mr. Protagonist Person. He even got the anime protagonist seats next to the window, because that's where they sit. They sit in the back and next to the window. Unless you're watching, I'm trying to remember the name of it, Watermelons. Well, I have the lucky first language of English, and basically know nothing else. I know some words in other languages. I'm trying to remember any of the Norwegian ones my grandmother tried to teach me. Anyways, so there's someone on staff, if they call, if there's any problem. The famous 24-hour nursing staff. Isao. Okay. Famous 24-hour nursing staff. Well, it's like a hospital. Technically, it's more like it's more like an annex of a hospital. It's basically just PT and education. Which, to be honest, I don't think I've ever heard of ones that actually work in schools. I've heard ones that had school programs in them. But, nonetheless. Mrs. E's just gonna have to tell me how appropriate that emote is. Well, not exactly. For instance, we don't have brain surgery here. His joke feels out of place, and I'm left thinking why we even said that. Yeah, it's really weird to have so many medical people at a school. Well, unless it's a medical school, you know, there should be full of doctors. Or nurses. Well, you'll get used to it. I'm not sure of that myself, but I don't let the nurse know that. Now, let me just find your file again. While he searches for something on his computer and shuffles stacks of papers, I let my gaze wander around the room. Epitome of generic. I am impressed with myself for saying that correctly. Are there even offensive emotes? It depends upon the streamer. Some streamers have ones that could be considered quote-unquote offensive. Someone could be offended by the Celts one. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm saying that if it's how appropriate it is for average American. I can't see it. All I see is Kappa at the end. Usually that's Kappa. But I should complain to Restream about their chat system not having a better Twitch plugin. It's an epitome of generic, I'd like to say. Beige walls, dark gray laminate flooring, all the equipment you would expect from a school nurse's office. Even the ridiculous educational poster hanging on all four walls, reminding me to eat properly 3 times a day from all the food groups. A now abandoned system. Smiling, the nurse draws a thick file from a stack of similarly thick files and opens it. So you already have the medication for the arrhythmia. Just remember to take your pills every morning and evening, or it won't help much. Apart from that, do you do any sports? Rash stuff like, I don't know, boxing? He grins to his own joke, but I don't. Or, well, I played soccer occasionally. No, I don't. Stop characterizing me, person. Alright, I'm afraid I'm going to have to recommend you refrain from doing that, at least for the time being. Well, duh! The fact that he hasn't had a previous heart injury from playing soccer, he hasn't had this happen before from playing soccer, is quite surprising. It takes a girl, you know, saying she'll go out with him, then being a bit of a bitch and just not sticking around. Oh, okay. Oh? And lack of reaction makes him raise an eyebrow, but really I'm not too bothered by him forbidding me from kicking a ball around. I guess I never did it out of burning passion for the sport and just have something to do. Any kind of concussion might be very dangerous to your heart. Well, you know, just overall overexerting yourself. Well, yes, yeah, he'd probably have an adaptive gym. Especially this school, it already would have an adaptive gym you know, built into it. Was the previous one caused by a sudden concussion to the chest area? No mention of cause in your papers. Not exactly. I'd be blunt. I'd say I'd be very bitter about the situation, to be completely honest. No, tell the nurse about the problem. That's what you do with doctors. It's their job not to tell anyone else what happened to you. He glances over his papers with more of a serious expression on his face. Well, still keep your body healthy. Some exercise would do you good. We have physical therapy and such available, but as I said, I don't think you really need such heavy measures. Well, you know, just run up and down the stairs a few times and make sure someone knows that you're doing it. Just some light exercises regularly. No, I'm gonna do all-out parkour through the school. Brisk walks, jogging, jumping rope, that sort of thing. Swimming, maybe. There is a pool here. That is better for most conditions, including heart conditions. So I was told. We're very good. At any rate, I'm sure that you've been told this before. Just take care not to overexert yourself. Oh, yes. Work on your heart strength before you do anything, especially those special things that I'm not allowed to show on Twitch. Okay, see you in a little bit, Mrs. E. You always just to emphasize the point. No need really. They have thousands of times already. Absolutely no unnecessary risk. Take care of yourself. Oh, so I should try and avoid the situation that this whole game is built around, which, you know, caused my first incident. Okay. He goes over my papers one more time and sets them on the desk. Obviously content. Good, that's it then. Come meet me if you ever need anything. Need something, not anything. Words. I mustered out before I can even realize. Quick visit indeed. No, that took me a considerable length of time because I'm very slow at reading it. give back competitions. I do asides that not even my character knows. I end up standing in front of the main building and the auxiliary building, although to my eyes they still look one and the same. It's the first real look I get at the other students, so I watch people coming out of the school and going up towards the gate or the dorms. Everyone seems to know where they're going. And I still keep thinking most of them don't look too special for being students at a special school. And I'm slightly confused about the pink-haired girl and what her actual problem is. Well, yes, that is something that I would not advise medically that this person does. I would not advise anyone does that, but you know. Does that make me one of them? Oh. Oh, and then again, neither do I. I missed that part. I didn't say that part. I should go somewhere too to prevent me from getting lost. It's around dinner time, but I feel tired instead of hungry. Weariness only grows as I trudge towards the dorms. You know, I was informed at the beginning of this. Your parents were putting things into your dorm room. You know, my parents, after they finished, would see if it was okay to come and see me talk to me before they left. Okay, so she literally doesn't have a problem, which I find that a bit surprising. And a little bit surprising. I could see this school doubling as a form of medical education. Especially since the doctor said that one of his colleagues graduated from here. So it could make sense that it was a medically orientated school and a school for those who were impaired. There's a garden of sorts in between the school and the dorms, shrubbery, flowers, that overbearing smell of fresh cut grass fills the atmosphere. You know, as far as I've been informed, you know, parks are very important in Japanese culture. It dawns on my tired mind that the smell feels novel because I haven't been outside for a very long time. You know, I have ADHD and it didn't put me into anything but just a special program, and that was mostly because she could be autistic and a high-functioning one. That is a distinct possibility. You know, like Asperger's and the like. As okay. Change of scenery, blank screen. Dorm building is big and made of red brick like the others. It feels way too pompous for what it's for, but I push through and go inside. It takes more time than necessary to fish out the key I was given from my pocket. Room 119. Hey. How weird. That number is printed outside the current building I'm in. Despite the ornate exterior, the inside of the room is fairly new and functional and boring. Just like the main building, the halls and doors are wide to accommodate wheelchairs. The same goes for the elevators at the end of the hallways. Well, as long as they're at both ends of the hallways, that'd be, you know, convenient. I put my head around the corner in the common room door. Of the common room door, a few students inside watching the television. One nods and gives a quick hello before turning back to the TV. It seems that only the girls around here are sociable. I support that's perfectly fine. I support that idea. I would rather only talk to the girls. You know, personal preference. I climb the stairs up to the upper floors. There are small corridors branch off from the main hallway. Each of these minor halls seems to have a toilet and shower, as well as 4 rooms. About halfway down the hall, I spy room 119. The nameplates on the rooms adjacent to mine are blank. I guess there are just 2 of us up here. Light shines from below room 117. I knock lightly. Is anyone home? From inside, I hear a few movements, a clicking box, and then after a moment, the door squeaks open. Oh look, it's Harry Potter. I'm not wrong, it's totally Harry Potter. You're a neat Harry. The respectable boy stands in the doorway. He's looking at me and very intently, though extremely thick eyeglasses. Who is it? Blind? No, at least not completely. Why would he have the glasses at all if he was? He leans closer until our noses are almost touching. He breathes. His breath stinks of garlic. Kizao. I moved in the room next door. I thought I should introduce myself. Nah. He's a neat. Lives at home and doesn't. His face suddenly brightens with realization. He stands back upright, thrusting his hands out and smiling, greeting. With the fact that we were, you know, nearly nose to nose, and then he thrusts out his hands, there was a good chance that would go square in my stomach. Yep, oh yeah, there we go. Greeting almost straight into my diaphragm. Oh, sup, dude, my name's Kenji. Okay, I'm questioning, did I get that one right? Ah, hi. I take his sweaty hand and shake it a little, still a little routed from the sudden change of attitude, and oh, don't use big words. Bevelment? Welcome? Let's deck you for the win. There were some suspicious looking people going in and out of your room earlier. That was probably my parents. So you're 100% right, they are extremely suspicious. Your parents? You sure? Because they could have been some other people too. You can't judge a book by its cover. Well, you are definitely a Harry Potter book, Mr. Red and yellow striped cloak, and, you know, all I need to do is a little... little red marker, and you know, you have the perfect cosplay without having to do anything. His out-of-place proverb left hanging between us awkwardly, me trying to think of a way to respond. It's quite simple. You say, "Okay, bye now," then you go into your room and you lock the door. I'd say the chances are high enough. He shudders and makes some exaggerated hand gestures. You're a brave man. Me, I don't think I'd trust the chances. What am I gonna do? Have a nurse come and inspect my room to make sure someone else didn't put something in there? Maybe it's one of the 2 girls I talked to and they came and dropped something in my room. Because they totally have a key. The only one I trust is myself. Well, you better trust me. I do live next door, and I could probably get a hole through this wall if I was really trying. Does that mean I shouldn't get to know you either? He thinks about that for a while. Wise decision. Damn, you're smarter than you look. Wow, what a compliment. Probably. What do you look like? I hope not smart. I lean back to dodge it. Never mind, doesn't matter. And with that, he turns, fumbles around for a moment to find the door handle. So, essentially, he's a cross between Harry Potter and Professor Farnsworth. I slide the key into the lock, March 119. Beige walls, white liner. I need some black wallpaper and some spray paint, or a metal bin to burn everything in. And I'll just, singe the room. Ugly curtains. Yeah, just look at the bed. This is no one's room. It's no one's room. It's impersonal, like a hospital room was. Yeah, I've been inside hospital rooms. Yes, it's not quite this. This looks like you walked into a Super 8 motel and started looking around. And this is just what the room looks like, because it's meant to accept the most amount of people. My eggs are sitting at the foot of the bed, looking a lot emptier than I did this morning. That's also a fair comparison. The closet is sitting open, stocked with my clothes. Well, apparently my mother is a very nice person and deserves all the thanks that she can get. Also, there seems to be a number of school uniforms hanging there as well. A note pinned to the sleeve of one of the shirts. Hi, Hei-chan, we unpacked your things. Okay. I might be a bit confused about name formation, but I thought Hei-chan would be their last name, so that'd be like writing down my last name. Hi, my last name, but I might be incorrect, and it might be first. No, I'm pretty sure with Japanese text it's last first. Anyways, I've unpacked your things and made your bed. They said if they don't fit, then you should go to the office tomorrow. If you have any problems, you can always call us. Love, Mom and Dad. Clearly, meaning the note was written by your mother, even though it is clearly in typed text. At least I don't have to worry about unpacking. I kind of hoped I would have, then there would be something to do. It's still too early. Put the note down on the desktop and lie down on the bed, feeling drained. Guess what? We're gonna have to go to the library. Woot! Good thing I asked where it is. I wonder if the hospital conditioned me for waiting to read whenever I got nothing to do. Well, yes. Yes, it did. The relentless urge just keeps growing until I have to stand up. Maybe it's stress or something. I was pretty nervous about before coming, and the higher day too. I still think I am. Damn, I have to distract myself somehow. I wouldn't be... I so wouldn't be this unnatural all the time. So I won't be this unnatural all the time. There we go. Tomorrow I'll go borrow some books from the library. No, get your ass up. Go get the library books. You'll probably meet a pretty girl there. That's how these stories work. Just arrange your pills for a time of day and just down them and drink whatever you got on hand. Side and then read the glued on pharmacy label. 2 tablets daily to stay alive. Wow, that is a mean way of putting that. You know, the only better statement, to not die. That would be the even better statement to put there. It doesn't really say that, but it could as well. Okay, good. And that's inside his head. Yeah, I've had a few friends who actually go to libraries that were girls. Most of them were, like, super anime people. So, and also, if I remember, my town for the longest time has had a actual anime club at its library, because that's the only way the library gets used. Well, it's quite interesting having a life depend upon chemicals like that. I resent a little, but what choice do I have? I don't know, you're not taking pills like a Left 4 Dead character. It's like the save function in a video game. If you don't do it and you die, you just have a long ways back to go. Okay, it's twisted having your life depend upon chemicals like this. I resent it a little, but that's what choice do I have? This time, I begin my new daily ritual of taking the right number of pills from each bottle and carefully checking the correct dosages. I lie down again, feeling hollow and uncertain, and after that, I keep staring at the blank, unfamiliar ceiling for a long time. Do I just need the poster above my bed? Should I just mount a television there? That all it does is it's basically just a camera strapped to the back of what's her name's head? The actual sociable person's head. It doesn't start looking any more familiar, not even after darkness falls. Long shadows draw across my room like fingers. Personally, I'm trying to get in my head the orientation of the room. Since it's a narrow hallway, I'm guessing that would mean that the rooms, based on the fact you don't see a window in this picture, it's either just off frame and the bed is against the left wall, or the bed is against the side wall next to the door and off to your right after a closet or something is the window. Yes, Misha. The sheets feel slightly more comfortable and warm, nested against and nest-like against the chill that. This is for room temperature around here. Well, hospitals aren't cold because they choose to be. It's because they're really big buildings with mostly made of materials that are able to be kept clean, and thus absorb a lot of heat. The sheets feel slightly more comfortable and it's passive temperature here. Soon the lighter shade of darkness that is the ceiling starts to look like every ceiling does at night. And it becomes the only thing I can recognize anymore. And I can hear my neighbor bringing in their trash bin. I feel the coldness and unfamiliarity and fear creeping down my spine once again. Stop being a baby. It's just dark. Dark is awesome. I keep drifting further and further away from the world I knew. Yay, he went to sleep. Hey, it's the actual intro. That's an interesting place to wake up. I wake up in a strange room. No, you wake up in your own room. Solid morning light shimmers through the light gray ceiling. I had forgotten to draw the curtains closed last night. Well, that's probably why your room was so cold. This is my room, isn't it? My room. Yes, this is your specific room. It's like being at the hospital, except for the fact that the bed doesn't adjust so you can lean your head, so you can, you know, press your face into your toes. And yes, those beds actually do fold pretty close to that. This is the third room this year, I'm supposed to call mine. Well, get posters. Or, you know, just take pictures of the girls you know and put them as big posters on the wall. It's basically the same thing as having anime posters. Except for it's considered more creepy because you know who they are. The bags are on the floor, my new school books are on the desk. Numerous medications on the night table that I need to take probably around now and then head down to breakfast. Wait, I just noticed something. He just completely ignored the posters he saw in the nurse's office. Because he skipped dinner. I stare at the bottles a moment before deliberating until I open the bottle and shake out the pills and pop the tablets from the foil sheets. Okay, why would they be in foil sheets if they're in bottles? I know this is probably translation error, but still, if they were in foil, they'd be in a box. If they were loose, they'd be in a bottle. I down them with a chaser of water without thinking about the chemistry. I do. Was it made in English? And the person's just a little lazy. My uniforms are in the closet. I slink from underneath the sheets and stretch my back before getting dressed. Wait, so he just did all of this from being underneath the sheets. I'd say that's impressive. Managing to reach over to the nightstand, undo all the pills, have a glass of water, and take his pills without getting out from underneath his blanket. It seems small. It seems to just be a bed. You know, you could have taken like 2 steps back and I could see like the bed and the closet, and that would give me an establishment of how big the room is. Putting on a new school uniform feels like dressing in someone else's clothes. But yeah. The artificial smell of generic detergent invades my nose, but the feeling of fresh cloth against my back is a good one. A natural one. Well, yeah, they seem to just be pictures of actual places. Oh yes, it is free, unless you believe a false page that's pretending to be Steam that says it's selling it for $9. Feels like a school uniform, as it should, but it's not much different from what I used to wear before. There's a fake Steam page that someone threw together that... Yeah, I noticed that. I didn't pay for it, but someone threw together a fake Steam page for it. I went to the actual site and downloaded it for free. And so far, this place seems more or less a normal school. Except the people. Ah, wow. My character's a dick. He's a heartless dick. Well, he's still got a heart. It's just very, very poorly functioning. I think back to my talk with Kenji yesterday. Misha's constant laughter and Shuzun's sweeping sign language gestures. What? Well, I've met 3 students so far. Maybe they aren't that normal, but I'm sure others are. Yeah, again, character's dick. Or perhaps like them, what passes for normal around here. What does pass for normal? What do people do? They most likely pay attention to their health, unlike you, who has yet to go down and eat breakfast. Instead, he's sitting there having an existential crisis in his room. No, don't join a club. Definitely not. That's just not. It's just, it's not like a Japanese game where there's clubs everywhere. I'm just getting bothered by my character for a little bit here. Oh my god, he's still going on about it. Although class, the question remains on my mind. I decided all through class. Okay, all through class, the question remains on my mind. So I decided to ask Shujun about it when we split into groups. After all, she did. Wait, I just noticed this. Yesterday, you were given an assignment in homeroom. Anyways, so if you had anything I wanted to know, I should ask her. She crosses her arm and shifts her gaze slowly to Misha, who looks more preoccupied with trying to grind her eraser of her pencil so that the top is perfectly evenly flat. Oh yes, and I'm gonna express, since Mrs. E isn't back yet, the person I'm focusing towards is the person we've met but haven't been introduced to. Sorry, Sinsha. Is there something you wanted from me? Oh, I see. That's a good question. I first thought that means that she doesn't know, which is worrying. Maybe I'm being too negative. Let me Misha. Wait. Well, anyways, Misha, please don't prove me right. That's right, everyone is encouraged to join a club. A lot of people do so because it isn't really anything else to do. What, you don't have a makeshift convenience store that, you know, sits in the corner to draw people's attention in? It doesn't really sell anything because, you know, you can't have those sort of goods. I really hope you're not doing sign language there in chat. I wouldn't be able to read it. There's also school events like the festival coming up in a few days. Almost every student in the school tends to help out with them. Again, I can't see the better Twitch TV things because I don't have it open in actual Twitch. So you actually transferred in at a busy time. Maybe I can help you out too. Maybe you can help out too. Okay, there we go. Okay, sure, whatever. What's the festival all about? Misha freezes. I don't know. And the truth is, it's a local event, and I'm not from this area, so... Oh look, she actually seems interested in the conversation for a few seconds. She starts signing desperately to Shinzun, asking her to bail her out. Shinzun adjusts her glasses at the end of an oddly grandiose and flourished, and then starts signing hands. Something hard and heavy. Well, that's definitely can't be taken in other ways. Oh, a joke that could be made is she's good with her hands. Oh. Who cares? That is the perfect response. Puffs out her chest and she shouts. Susan. Just as she shouts Susan's words out at me with a disproportionate amount of pride. Too loud, and I can see heads turning and looking our directions. Not so loud? Humans begin to evolve with each new generation. The ideals and benefits of each find festival of the inevitability of change with time. Now it's about delicious fried pews, amusing games, and how to play and win prizes. That is one hell of a devolving of that. The teacher clears us through loudly, very loudly, batting his long wooden pointer against his other palm every time as he shoots a gaze at us. Finally noticing where we are, Misha stifles a yelp and quickly quiets down. Shinzu doesn't seem quite embarrassed at all, though brushes it off without a care. We're in the middle of class and we should start working. Isn't that right, Su-chan? What, that's right, He-chan, you were asking me because you're interested in joining a club. And then there's that face. It could have been my eyes playing tricks on me, but I think I saw a suspicious glance exchange between them. Misha's tone also has changed, although it doesn't. It does that every other word, so... Anyways. Yeah, I was thinking about it. Misha and Susan look at each other again. They're gonna ask me to join the council, aren't they? I'm about to ask what they have in mind when something dark flutters in my peripheral vision, catching my attention. At the corner of the eye, I see the girl with long dark hair get up from her desk and slip silently towards the door. She doesn't seem like she's working in any group, and no one seems to notice her but me. I glance at the teacher, who's also looking at the dark-haired girl, go, why doesn't he say anything? Ichan, is something wrong? Do I look as uneasy as I feel? Or is Misa just looking at me after... the girl who left? Looking at me, looking at the girl. Nope, nothing. Okay, well, we were asking you... asking... You don't have plans for lunch today, do you? Well, I thought I would go to the library and pick up some books. Not really. Wow, So do you want to have lunch together then? You mean again? Sure, I guess. I know the two of you and the nerd that lives next door. So I guess I will stick with you. If I was capable of enthusiasm. Okay, Hichan, perfect. The rest of the cast was uneventful. The girl with the long hair never came back. Before I have any more time to put thought into where she could have gone, the teacher informs us that it's time to stop working. Shoujo seems more than a little annoyed that we just barely managed to finish all the work on time. I'm glad we finished it at all, and it's not a contest or anything. Yes, it is, Hichan. Did I miss something? Impossible. Really? Really? I noticed this before, but it's kind of funny how Mishta is always moving her hands and signing not only everything she's saying, but what anyone else is saying. Well, that is a fairly good skill to be able to do that, but the question is, what do you do when two people are talking at once? Obviously, it must Shinzu can understand it. Her eyes dart back and forth between Mishta's hands and me. I don't know who I'm supposed to be looking at. I'm talking to Misha, but I also might be wrong. Misha, but I might also be wrong. Maybe I should face Shinzu. I'm used to looking in the direction of the person whose voice I'm hearing, but really, Shinzu can't hear me, but it would be disrespectful to talk to her only through Misha. And then again, isn't that what she's doing? No, she's at least looking at me. That's very confusing. This is all very confusing. It'll take some time to get used to. It's not a contest. It's not a contest because contests are competitions over a prize. If there's no prize on the line, then it's not really a contest. Oh, so that statement, I said that out loud. I would have never said that out loud. She stares at me as if surprised that I'm challenging her. I think maybe this is a contest to her. I never noticed this before, how her dark blue eyes are truly a alluring gaze. I'm more concerned about the dark-haired girl that left in the middle of class, you know. I tend to get stuck up on ideas, and I'll stay with them, unlike you, Mr. Easily Distracted. Are you sure, Hee-chan? Very sure? Because you don't want to be the slowest one in the class, and therefore what's on the line is my confidence in my abilities, and the prize is satisfaction of proving them. The individual knows in a very matter-of-fact way. I'd argue more, but the bell's ring. She quickly gets up and packs up her bag, and looking at me expectantly. I almost forgotten I was supposed to have lunch with them. Where do you want to eat? The cafeteria? Is there other places to eat? Is there a McDonald's in here I could go to? Being mostly sarcastic in that statement? Plain, well, I guess. At my old school, I liked to eat outside near the back of the building. It was a good spot, but I didn't find it until near the end of the freshman year. And I wonder if there's a similar place to eat here. Misha seems to imply as such. So pull me towards the cafeteria, which is surprisingly not packed. Maybe some students favor eating in classrooms or outdoors. I saw one of my classmates had boxed lunches. After we finished eating, Misha picks up where we left off earlier. And you wanted to know about the clubs and stuff, right? Right? Right, Shoujo. I guess it makes sense to ask first. Do you have any idea what you're really interested in? Well, I used to play soccer, but I'm not really into it. I don't follow the teams and players or anything like that. As of late, I just read a lot. Well, you know, when you can't do physical activities, reading does seem to be what people do. Okay, but more to the point, Eugene doesn't... Does this mean that you don't have anything really already in mind? Well, yeah, I don't. Things I know about my character is he had a minor heart attack, he likes to read books, and he used to play soccer. Not really. Okay, have fun with whatever it is you're going off to do. I'm probably going to call the stream here anyways. I think I'm pushing 2 hours? Well, I haven't really gotten to that point yet, but yes. But if I'm going to call this, I'm going to probably do an outro because I post this to YouTube as well. Okay. Thank you people who showed up in chat. Mrs. E and Revik01. And thank anyone who watched this on YouTube. Well, goodbye, and I guess I will see about doing this again later.